Whip us up some signature cocktails.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Dane, do it.
I mean, it's my first day, but let me see what I can whip up.
nice.
Oh, I can't believe it. What? Jeez, Dane. What? Oh my God.
Dane, for being your first day, it's pretty amazing.
Looking for feedback. Let me know what you think.
Oh my God. This stuff smells amazing.
Good, all right.
Well, Levi, Dane, cheers, man.
Cheers.
Nice.
Bottoms up.
Cheers.
Thanks, Dane.
Oh my God. God, why are you spitting my drink up? I worked hard on that.
What is in it? Is that polymers?
My mouth is encapsulating.
Why would you even know what polymers taste like?
Tastes like chemicals. Did you feed us chemicals?
What did you put in this?
I made you a nice drink. These are supposed to be nice. Oh, guys, that's my car.
What?
You hit my car. God, guys, if you didn't want the drinks, you could have just given them back to me or something.
Dane.
Are you seeing that shine over there? On the car.
Oh my God. Dane, what did you put in that stuff?
What, in your drinks?
Yeah.
Some water and some Absolute.
Absolute vodka?
No. PNS Double Black Absolute Rinseless.
Wait a minute. Are you trying to poison us?
Dane, did you just make us drink Rinseless Wash?
No, definitely didn't do that.
Absolute Rinseless Wash is not for oral or suppository consumption.
Looks pretty good.
It does, however, leave a hell of a clean and smooth surface on your vehicle.
Wow.
PNS Absolute Rinseless Wash. Mix responsibly.
Is that something?
I mean, it's pretty good. I'm kind of enjoying it. I'm kind of liking this.
Yeah.
So just don't drink it.
No.
Yeah, let's make sure we don't drink it for the future.
But do put it on cars.
Yeah, it's good. It's for
Put it
cars.
on a car. Okay.
Not inside yet. Wow! I hope you guys enjoyed that.
Okay.
That was too much fun, man. That is great. That was one of our best videos I think we've ever made.
Yeah, I think you guys are gonna really enjoy it. It's gonna be played again. Don't worry, in case you guys missed it.
Halftime show, right?
Halftime show.
Halftime show.
Right?
We'll play it again.
That way you guys can see it in its true glory. And then
Yeah.
I think tomorrow it's getting released on the channel. So
It's amazing.
feel free to enjoy
Dane
it. Share it,
absolutely
show your
killed it.
friends.
Some of his best acting ever. So, guys, thank you so much for joining us for the launch of PNS Absolute. Today, we're joined by the master of shine himself, Mr. Levi Gates.
Thank you.
And then
Appreciate
Sydney Gwen of PNS. And we are going to be doing a live demonstration today using Absolute Rinseless Wash in all of its shapes and forms, or some of its shapes and forms,
Yeah.
right? So, we're going to be washing this behind us right here, which is Glenn's mom's
Challenger.
Barracuda.
Challenger.
The plate kind of threw me
Yeah,
off.
I didn't get that either.
Challenger.
But anyway, Challenger. But we are going to be washing the car, so you're going to get to see us wash it. You're going to see it mix up. We'll do the rinseless mix up, and then we'll wash the vehicle. And then we've got a couple little props you see behind us. So you're going to be able to see us play with it on some leather. We've also got some carpet. We've got it in a steamer. We've got it in an extractor. So you guys get to see all the benefits of what this product can do. And this is something that the three of us have been really helping Dave, develop for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty wild. And speaking of which, we are going to have some special guests here for the second half. So after the full live demonstration, we're actually going to be pulling in Dave and Bob Phillips of PNS. So you get to ask the chemist himself what makes Absolute so good. While we all love chemistry and we love using the products once they're done, we are by no means chemists, and so actually having a chemist here is going to be pretty amazing. And so you'll be able to ask all your questions, but for the most part, we're going to be going through doing the foremost live demonstration, and so you guys are going to see the product in action. This has been a long time coming. I know we shocked a lot of people by releasing a new rinseless wash with PNS, and I think that the world is ready for this change. And I think it's going to be really, really exciting. And so have fun with us, kick back, grab a drink, grab some popcorn, be ready to ask your questions, and we're pretty much just going to jump straight into this. So Levi, Sydney, Rinseless Washing 101. We have a dirty car behind us with bugs on it. We have some dust on it. We have some things like this. What would you do with a rinseless wash first? I know what I would do.
Why don't you tell us?
Levi,
you're the one that's you said you've got your own ideas. I want to hear them.
We're gonna be
everybody knows what I'm gonna do.
We're gonna be pre-spraying the Challenger first, right? With a mixture of Absolute at 256:1, which is the standard dilution. So we're gonna go through with our IK sprayer, get the car covered first. Now this is just a good practice to have for any of your rinseless washing, no matter what kind of rinseless that you use. Mainly for the fact that you're gonna add some more lubrication to the surface, you're gonna help to start break down and emulsify whatever's on the surface, and it's going to make things a little bit just safer overall. So where can you do this? Anywhere you please, literally. You can do this on a golf course. You can do this in your garage. You can do this in an apartment. You could do this at church.
You could do it at church if you wanted to. I don't know why, but
sometimes you want to have a clean car at church, right? You could do this on a beach somewhere, Levi.
You could do it on a beach
drinking
somewhere.
Maybe some real Absolute while using Absolute.
Yes,
right.
But not the rinseless version.
Not the rinseless version. It's not.
No, but you're right. So we can do a lot of different things. We are going to be starting off just normal 256:1 dilution in a bucket.
What are we using in the bucket?
We got ultra black sponges.
Ooh, UBSs. Okay, all right.
So we'll have those, and then we're going to be drying it with some liquidators.
Heck yeah, we are. But we're not going to be using a drying aid. No. Right? Because the thing is with this rinseless wash, and people are going to ask this question, so I guess I will kind of just tell you right now, this rinseless wash is the slickest rinseless wash that we've used.
Yes.
So in terms of using a drying aid, it is not really necessary. Can you use a drying aid? Absolutely. Sydney, which drying aid would you use?
Well, myself, I would use Bead Maker.
Yes, you would. Bead Maker, and because it adds to more slickness, right? And it feels
and it plays well.
Phenomenal. It feels amazing. And we're going to do a future video here on the Rad Company showing you guys the combination of Absolute and Bead Maker because it is that good. We actually clayed a car the other day using this combination, and it was slick enough to you could Starsky and Hutch that hood in through a wall, right, and out the other side. It's just that slick. So really exciting.
It's going to be good.
So without further ado, I'm going to grab this IK sprayer.
Go ahead, you do that. I just want to tell folks, we aren't going to be answering every single question during this first hour, or not first hour, but first like 45 minutes or so. While we're working on this, we're going to go through, we're going to pick and choose some of the more important questions that come through. Nick's going to pop them in my ear, we'll put them up, and we will ask them then, or answer them then. But the second half, we're expecting a lot of the heavy-duty questions when we've got
we're going to sit down, you're going to have our full attention with Bob
now, Dane Hennon is in the comments, and he will be doing his best to facilitate.
He's mixing up comments is what he's doing. He's bouncing that blender off of his hands. He's doing some crazy tricks.
Well, he's working on some of those tricks. He's doing those, but he is going to be answering those questions for you that we can't maybe get to. So fear not, just because Dane's not here. Oh, I like the way you did that. All right, why don't you just start mixing?
All right, let's get this done here. So if I can get a camera over here, we're going to start with our pre-spray. So I have here is the IK Foam Pro 12 in Valhalla mode, right? You guys have seen this before. It's absolutely amazing. I can't tell you how I did it. I can just tell you that it is a thing. So coming over here, Levi's going to start prepping the actual mixture. So I'm going to show you just a quick little pre-spray here, and then Levi's going to show you how to properly mix up your Absolute. So taking my Valhalla mode sprayer, bam, laying on that sauce on the entire Challenger, working from top to bottom. Now what this is going to start doing, this is going to start encapsulating any of that dirt, any of that debris, any of that stuff that's on the surface. Now the encapsulation is fantastic with Absolute. You do see the actual contamination within those beads, within that moisture, and whether the car is coated or not coated, protected or not protected, right? You can still see that encapsulation happening on the surface, which is absolutely amazing. And we had that, was it a Tahoe? It was a Denali, right? And in here the other day, and it really didn't have any protection left on it. And when we got to that rear hatch there, we started spraying it down. You could see all this pooling liquid, but within that liquid was literally a riverbed of contamination.
Yeah.
It was
Dirt.
insane seeing how much stuff was coming off of that and flowing not onto the paint, onto the ground.
Yeah.
It was literally dragging that from the sides down onto the
using
ground.
gravity.
And it was amazing. So I'm going to keep pre-spraying this. You
Okay.
guys have seen the power of the Valhalla mode sprayer. So Levi, show us how to mix that.
Oh, well, as you see, we got our Yeti bucket. We got some water in here, warm water. Same thing, 256 to 1. The fun thing is this cap is just under half an ounce,
Right.
like a smidgen. So you can, you know,
Generous.
Generous capful.
go a little bit over if you want. That's what we're calling it, right? Generous
Yep.
capful. Get it in there. We're going to do half an ounce per gallon of water. So we got 4 of them, 4 gallons in here. So we'll do 4 capfuls. Well, now that we have that in there, we'll mix it up. And I got these UBSs in here. I'm just squeezing them to absorb some liquid and help get it mixed. But that's it. Simple and easy to mix up, just like any of the others. Now, you are going to see just a little bit of suds at the top. That's you're not seeing massive suds like if you were doing pearl in that mixture, you'd have far more soapy suds. This, because it's completely different in terms of the way it's made,
You're just going to see a
you
couple
really
bubbles,
have an actual rinseless in here. So I like, again, you guys know my rule, I like to get them to where they're just about dripping, and then same thing, working top to bottom on the vehicle.
Oh, dang, I should have grabbed another sponge. Am I right? I mean, I get to
there's
miss
one.
out on all the
There's one right
work.
over there.
Oh, dang it. I was hoping you weren't going to see that. Now I do have to actually get some work done. So, in terms of your initial experience and your initial feel, the second you start taking the sponge to absolute, whether you want to use a sponge or let's just say a chenille wash mitt, you're going to notice that immediate slickness. Now, what we've been testing with is the UBS specifically with absolute for, gosh, the last year, mainly for the fact that we wanted to make sure that our existing sponge was good enough for this product, or the product was good enough for the sponge. And so what we've noticed is that absolute tends to soften the sponge tremendously. So whether it's a brand new UBS or it's one that you've had for a long time, the conditioning that it does here on the sponge in terms of the softness and how great it feels on the surface is amazing. And so, because a lot of times when you get a brand new UBS, you're going to notice that it's stiff, right? It feels not coarse, but it feels stiff, like it needs to be broken in. And with normal other rinseless washes out there, it might take maybe 5 to 10 rinseless washes before that sponge starts to feel conditioned. And we're finding that with Absolute, it's conditioned here within the first 5 minutes, and it feels better than it's ever felt. And so taking this here, I'll start here on the front bumper. And like Levi likes to go on the verge of dripping, I like to make sure that I have plenty of liquid here. So when I'm making my passes, I'm watching for that kind of sheeting effect to happen before the surface of the paint, whether it's coated or non-coated, will start to kind of dispense that area. So again, one more time with Glenn on here, I will take my sponge, make my pass, and you'll see it flattens out, right? This shows that I'm actually adding lubrication to the surface, and because of that, a lot of that contamination will start to drip down, or I'll start to pick up a lot of that contamination within my sponge. So I'll go through like that, dump back into my bucket as often as you would like, you know, especially when the sponge starts to feel like it's dried out, just dump junk back in. But what I find is that with the chenille mitt, specifically, I have a little bit more working time just because it does hold more liquid. But I mean, this feels pretty dang good. Now this car was coated in Legend a year ago.
No, about 6 months ago.
6 months ago? Okay.
Yeah, I coated it in Legend. The other thing I like, one of the other things that I really like about this rinseless, that when we've tried other rinseless products that haven't been, you know, as comparable to ONR, is you don't get the fact that when you do this wipe of product, you don't get it to pull and encapsulate and pull that dirt away. Like you usually just have liquid on the surface. And what I like about this product is it does that which I hope it would be intended for, and it does. That was one of my biggest things was just I love this effect. This is the effect that I'm going for on all rinselesses because I want it to lift and pull and encapsulate all that dirt and start to emulsify it within those bubbles or polymers of that liquid.
And so I saw some questions earlier on the water softening effect. Now, to kind of elaborate that a little bit further, so water softening is the term is used a little bit loosely.
Yeah.
Because water softening, right, and used in an industrial way or industrial standpoint, would mean that you are basically changing the TDS of the water, right, or the mineral content of the water. Because in water, you have a good combination of calcium and magnesium in there. And so what happens is, as that water evaporates, you're left behind with a lot of those hard minerals. And so when it comes to a rinseless wash, the idea is to, quote unquote, soften that water, meaning that the chemistry within that rinseless is going to help prevent that calcium and magnesium from sticking to the surface, right? So using its encapsulation, using that encapsulation technology, it's going to keep it to where that spot that's left over would hopefully be a polymer spot, right? Not a hard water spot, but a polymer spot that would simply be wiped away with more polymer. Now, I can't say that every rinseless on the market is capable of softening water. During our testing and during using Absolute over the last basically 2 years, we've bought pretty much every single rinseless on the market, did head-to-head testing with every rinseless on the market, and really there's only a couple that came out as having that water softening effect. One of the most popular rinseless washes, which I will not say its name, has no water softening effect whatsoever, meaning that while it is very popular and a lot of people use it, go use that in direct sunlight on a black hood in the middle of the day. Spray some product on there, let it sit, and walk away. And your mind might start to change a little bit, right? You say, wow, it cleaned everything else good, but the spots that were left behind are now hard water spots. Why is that? I thought this also softened it, and that's not true. And so we knew that we had some pretty big shoes to fill, right? And PNS had some pretty big shoes to fill, so that had to hit that point. And so during my testing on polished, corrected, and perfected black hoods, black panels, Sebastian's car, his poor car, I tested so much stuff on his car. He had water spots from other rinseless washes, and then he had perfectly clean panels from other products. And so, but yeah, 105-degree days, panels that were probably upwards of maybe 200 degrees, getting up there, and spraying product on, letting it sit and walking away. So anyways, so Nick's going to start kicking out a question for me, but I'm just going to say, though, that this absolutely has that water softening effect, meaning that it's going to keep a lot of those mineral deposits from sticking around onto the surface. And so is it a perfect system? Well, I mean, distilled water would make it a perfect system, but if you have hard water, this is definitely an option for you. For reference, here in Idaho, we're around 250 to 300 parts per million with our hard mineral content here, and so depending on where you live, you might have a little bit of a different result. If you're less than us, God bless you, enjoy, bask in that pure water, but if you're higher than us, then this is obviously going to help tremendously over hard water alone.
Sydney, when you were doing testing, what was your favorite feature that you were really working towards on hoping that?
Probably the slickness for sure. That definitely helps, like with what we're doing right now is the drying. The slicker the product, the easier it's going to move across the surface and come up in the towel. So definitely the slickness. Also just the look that it left behind. And one of my favorite features is just, for me, I've been using it for quite a while now, a good solid 6 months. I feel like the cars, stay a little bit cleaner because of, the materials that are used. There's no surfactants. And so the dust doesn't seem to stick as easy.
Okay.
And so the cars stay cleaner longer, which I really love. And just the overall look, it looks amazing.
Well, especially on this, which is coated in Legend, it really plays well with the surface. David Blowy has a question. The question begs to be asked.
Yeah, I'm going to jump over here, Levi.
Will this replace Onr for you guys? Can we get a comparison of them? Slickness, separation of contaminants, stability in storage. Possibly, but no, we're not. It's not replacing Onr.
I'll jump in on this one. Can I take this one?
You can go for it.
I wrote this whole comment on our YouTube video, and so when we did our YouTube video launch this morning or earlier today, I left a pretty good comment that kind of highlighted a lot of different things, specifically around this question here. Glenn, you're so close to my face. Will this replace ONR for us? So will it replace ONR in the sense that we'll probably be using this maybe over ONR or in conjunction with ONR? Absolutely. This is something that we're going to absolutely be incorporating into our normal detailing regimes, whether it's at home or here in the studio. The thing is we have no plans to stop selling Optimum No Rinse, and so we want people to know that as well, because there are certain people that like what they use, and we've kind of preached before in the past that if you have something that works for you, just because we brought on something new doesn't mean that you need to just toss that away and pick up something new. I mean, you can continue using that. So we will still continue to sell Optimum products. This is simply going to be an addition, an add-on for people that have maybe a different preference in the feel, a different preference in the smell, a different preference in the working time, right? I mean, it's, again, people are picky out there. We cater to detailers, some of the pickiest people on this planet, and so because of that, we have 150 different types of towels, different colors of towels, and all of that. We do have an expanding detailing chemical lineup, all to cater to your needs. I mean, that's why we do this here, and a lot of people look at that as, you guys are getting bigger, you guys are selling out, you guys are trying to do this, you guys are trying to do this. We do this because of you guys. We do this because we care about the customers, and we want to give you the best shopping experience possible. So, can you get a comparison of ONR to Absolute? That's something that I'm sure we can do in the future. Kind of hard to tell, right? Rinseless washing on camera is a very hard thing to see. We do have some fancy cameras that might be able to get some really good visuals of things, but that's the most we can do. And I will say that we will go through 40 hours of work, 50 hours of editing time, and countless takes. And what's going to happen, we're going to produce some of the best videos that we've ever produced, and you guys are still going to find something wrong with it. And I mean that in the nicest way.
People say, you can't tell the slickness on a camera.
I mean that in the nicest way. God bless you guys, but I'm telling you, you're very hard to convince on that front, and we will put a lot of time and effort into something. So if we do that, we just want it to be well received. And then separation and contamination would be in the same kind of thing. And then stability and storage. And so storage wise, the product is absolutely stable in the bottle, right? Once they're mixed up, the product will begin to degrade over time, right? That's just a natural, thing, progression through the chemical once it's mixed up. But both ONR and Absolute would be in that same realm. So the next question here we had was, Don B says, what are the differences between PNS Epic Waterless Wash and Absolute Rinseless Wash? Thanks, and appreciate all the content. So Sydney, do you want to handle this, as you are one of the Waterless Wash queens and you love Epic?
All right, what's the question? I missed it. So what are the differences between Epic? Oh yeah, so Epic is a ready-to-use waterless wash. So this is going to be kind of for on-the-go, quick cleanups. There's some extra stuff in there it's going to make it a little bit thicker. It's maybe not as forgiving in direct sun. And so this is a rinseless wash. So this is something meant to clean the entire vehicle, similar to a normal car wash, but you're just doing it rinseless. So this product has a lot more versatility. Epic is one that I kind of keep in my trunk for, quick cleanups if a bird has its way with my paint or whatnot, that's good for that. This is for more when you want to clean the whole vehicle. This is going to be more of a staple in your detail shop as far as, all the jobs. So waterless wash is nice to have on hand, but this has a lot more versatility, and it is actually completely different science and everything.
Well, and I'm looking forward to the winter using Epic and Absolute in conjunction for some of the dirtier car part when you're dealing with the winter and the salt and all that.
Pre-spraying Epic on the lowers, and then jumping in with Absolute on the uppers.
And I do that a lot,
So, this is, again, a lot of people saw the title earlier and they said, game-changing. I mean, why is it game-changing? Well, you're going to have some questions you can ask Dave here in just a little bit, but the biggest takeaway here is that the chemicals used within Absolute Rinseless Wash are chemicals that really have not been obtained by anybody else. The chemistry is still, it's new. This product, it's 2022. This product's using chemicals, literally, ingredients, created within the last couple of years. And he assured us that there's not anybody in the industry that has their hands on this particular or these particular ingredients to be able to make what they've made today. Hence why it is so much different than everything else. So before I jump into the next question here, I do want to chime in and just say that we are doing a giveaway. So everybody that has purchased Absolute Rinseless Wash from the start of today when we first launched the product all the way till really the end of this stream, right? Yeah, correct. Or a Rinseless Wash or a bucket kit, the combination. If it had Absolute in it, you're entered into this. Towards the end of the stream here, if you purchased it at the beginning of the day all the way till, let's just say, 3/4 of this stream, you're going to be entered into a giveaway where you get to either A, if you bought just the 32 ounce, we're going to give you an entire free bucket kit. If you bought the bucket kit, we are going to comp your order and we are going to refund you on your order, so you got that for free. So just kind of a thank you to everybody watching and hanging out with us today that purchased the product. So the question that we saw here from Nick that popped up is, Jeff C says, I absolutely can't wait for this new product to get in my bucket. Speaking of, does Absolute remain stable in the bucket like ONR, and can my BRS UBS live in it for weeks before changing it out?
Yes.
So yes, absolutely. So pretty much our sponges have just like lived in our Absolute buckets literally since, I don't know, since the kind of the final version of the product was made, and that was back in like May. I mean, literally our sponges have just lived there.
Yeah, the biggest thing is just like, you know, any rinseless.
Just like ONR too.
Don't leave towels in the bucket.
Yeah.
But your sponges will be fine.
Yep.
If you cap it, you are going to create a pressure and fermentation and all that kind of stuff over the temperature, so to speak. So what I like to do at my house is I'll leave a bucket and I'll just throw a towel over it.
So it breathes a little bit.
That way it's got some breathability.
Yeah.
It's able to do its stuff, but I have Rinseless that I can sit and always have in my garage for up to 3 weeks with no issues.
Yeah.
And no smell.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. But if you leave a towel in there, it's gonna start working on that towel, and it's not gonna smell very good.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. Well,
but that's any rinseless.
That's
They're
like
always
any rinseless.
gonna do
That's
that.
even water.
That's
as
even
well.
soap and water.
So yeah, that's just something to keep in mind too. And then for any reason, you know, if you need to give the bucket a stir, especially if it's sitting about for a week or so, just put your hand in there, give it a quick stir with your hand. Any of the product that's maybe hadn't dissolved completely will redissolve, and you're good to go to continue washing.
And we're not talking about a heavy stir. Just
take your hand and go through.
A quick light one.
All right, so you guys at this point,
that car's clean. We washed it. 3 of us on a car.
But I was just talking though, and during my talking, you guys already finished this.
Yeah, sorry.
The surface feels smooth. It feels slick. It looks phenomenal. Wow, that's
not too
great.
bad.
No topper included.
No,
right?
and what I really like again is that slickness. The fact that the wipe, like the actual cleaning ability, is very slick. It's very easy. It encapsulates really, really well. And then something that's kind of funny is like we're wiping those towels. There's still a clean surface underneath.
Yeah.
You've got some squeaky clean feeling, so to speak.
Oh yeah.
We're not leaving a heavy product behind or leaving stuff on the surface in a sense.
Right.
Now, in reality, there's no rinseless on the market that can literally say that they leave nothing behind.
No, not even.
That's a false claim.
That's a false claim, especially if you're. The only way you'd leave nothing behind is if you were using, actually deionized water. That's the only way you would not be able to leave anything behind.
Not even that.
Well, distilled water, maybe. Well, distilled water might leave something behind.
No, but I mean, you're mixing it with a product that has.
I'm saying that if you were to use deionized water alone, that's
just
what I'm
water,
saying. You might not be able to. You might not leave anything. But I'm saying that the second that you mix any type of water with a product, there's going to be something left behind. Whether or not that something left behind is going to be able to work with adjacent products or work with the next step in your process, that's what matters most.
Exactly. And the only way you can actually make that surface naked is by following up with a prep spray
of some sort. Yeah,
of some sort.
An alcohol prep spray of some sort.
That's the only way.
Yeah.
And so
I
for
agree
those
100%.
who keep going, but this product doesn't leave anything behind. Well, we've got a clean car left behind. We have a surface that's clean and nice and ready for protection. Now, we can put bead maker on it because it'll play nicely together. We can put dream maker on it because it'll play nicely together. Heck, we can put paint gloss on it and leave it alone.
Yeah.
But if we're going to apply a coating, or we want to maybe make sure that bead maker sticks a little better, that's when we use
Well, and the
prep
thing
spray,
is if you're about to
surface.
apply a coating, right, after using any rinseless wash,
rinseless wash.
and you're not using a prep spray, then you don't know what you're doing.
Exactly.
I mean that in the nicest way.
No, it's true. That's why we always say, if you're going to use a put a ceramic coating, please, 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 please use the prep spray that's intended for that coating.
Should be kind of common sense there. So, so is there polymers left behind on the surface? Yeah, probably. But are they going to conflict with anything else that you're going to put on the car? Probably not. Probably not, because you guys have to remember that a lot of those toppers, a lot of those extra things that you're going to be using do have something to help it stick, right? And those things, right, in abundance will actually remove those polymers, whatever's left off that surface in the first place, leaving behind the new product on top.
Yeah,
and
but that surface is clean.
That surface, no, this surface is extremely clean. I mean, I wouldn't call it squeaky clean with my finger. It's not so dry that it's squeaky clean, but it's nice and slick. It feels smooth and it feels clean. It's got just enough grab on there to let me know that nothing has been left behind that would conflict with a future product.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty happy. So from here, we're actually going to be jumping into some steam cleaning, right? I wish this was part of our previous video where we were doing cocktails and stuff like that. You know how people are adding smoke to drinks now, right? You know how they're like, lighting things.
Smoky flavor.
Right? Imagine just steaming into a cup, right? Having all this stuff
got
come
some
out.
here.
That would be pretty exciting. So what we have here is this seat that we pulled out of the junkyard quite some time ago. We've sat in it. We've eaten Burger King in it. We've had Panda Express in it. We've had all sorts of different types of foods and stuff like that. So it does have some grime on it. So Sydney's going to show you the process of how to steam something using Absolute inside your steamer, preferably mixed with distilled water or deionized water, just because we recommend that in any steamer, even with its water softening ability. But she's going to go through, show you how this works using I think just a couple towels, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So Levi's going to release.
Making sure it's not full of water.
Yeah, we don't want it to be full of water. We want to make sure that this thing is putting out pure steam. Ooh, that looks good, Levi. So with this steamer actually we got from Justin Pate over at the Wrap Institute, and this is a steamer that they use specifically for wrapping, but puts out a decent amount of pressure for detailing, if we might say so ourselves. I mean, we're big fans.
Kind of our favorite.
We're big fans of the McCulloch 1275.
Yeah, but
this
the
thing
pod steamer is pretty insane.
It's like called the POG steamer.
It's a pod steamer.
Pod steamer. This thing has some output, guys. It's pretty impressive.
But do you put it on the seat?
No.
Okay.
You can put it on the towel. I just want you to know that.
This is
All right, Sydney.
Don't steam leather. It's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
But you can heat up your towel.
Yeah.
And clean some of the spots.
So, like we mentioned, this works really great in the steamer. So I've been using this a lot lately. And so generally, if a seat is not super soiled, you can just use the steam. I like to use this in combination actually with Express Interior, to be honest. So I kind of do all the little scrubbing with the brushes in the cracks and all that, and then I use the steam almost to rinse away anything left behind. So like we mentioned, heat up your towel, and then you literally are just going to use that heat and the chemical of the Absolute to kind of get that surface clean. It's going to help break up stuff. I mean, I don't know if you could see how easy that just wiped out of that crack. We'll get our towel nice and warm.
I'm fine. Oh yeah, no, I'm good.
And it just
I'm just hoping
helps pick up all the dirt and grime that's kind of stuck to the seat. There's some gunk stuck down there, but we won't clean that right now. So this is just a great way to quickly clean up seats that, like I say, maybe you're not doing, the major scrub down with scrub pads and Express, but I like to use this both ways. So on, maintenance for the seats, and then also for ones that are really dirty that I'm using Express ahead of time. Just gives it kind of a nice rinse. So super easy.
What I like is I'll fill up like my steamer 256 to 1. Mm-hmm. They usually most of your steamers come with a little cup and a funnel.
Yeah.
And I just mix up my bucket.
Right.
Take my cup, dip in the bucket, and just start filling, because I use distilled water.
Yeah.
In my bucket. Or, you guys heard me say this, you get a gallon of distilled, just crack that top, put a cap, half a cap full in, or cap full in there, and you're good. That half ounce, shake it up, and you just have pre-made Renseless ready to go.
Yeah.
You just fill up your
and another fun fact, because I just got mine set up, so I want to mention it, is I have the Chemtrol, right?
That's right.
So this can be absolutely hooked up to the Chemtrol. We have which chip you use. It dilutes it perfectly. Keith and I literally did a science experiment with beakers and everything, and so now I have it on tap in my Chemtrol, which is really cool.
Someday maybe
and
I'll get
up to hot water.
Maybe someday I'll get a Chemtrol unit. I've been promised one for years by Keith Duplessis himself. Keeps saying, just watch it show up.
Yeah.
Still haven't seen it, Keith.
Yeah.
Waiting on it.
So that is awesome because then you just pipe it right into your bucket, into your spray bottles, whatever you need.
Or if you're in a shop.
Yeah.
If you're running it, and that's one of the other great things about that chemtrol unit is its ability to dilute it automatically.
Yeah.
And you don't have your employees doing their own bathtub mixing for folks. And so it's going to lower your product cost too when you have them just walk up. They can fill their spray bottle up. They can fill up a bucket, whatever they need to do with it.
Yeah.
So super cool.
Super great to clean interiors.
Yeah. The other thing we were talking about, now I got a mat, carpets. You guys know me. I've used other rinselesses, but I've primarily used ONR for a number of different uses in my shop.
Yeah.
And I used Absolute during our testing the exact same way. So I wash cars with it. I use it to clay. I use it as a compound wipe down when I'm working on sticky paint.
Yes.
I always wipe with Rinseless. So I'm always dunking my towels. And if I get into issues where I have sticky paint and compound that doesn't remove properly, I want to limit the amount.
Right.
I'll wipe it down with a towel.
Yeah.
I'll use it in a pad washer. So when I'm polishing, I'm keeping my pad cool and clean because I'm using Rinseless for that.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing was putting it in my extractor because back in the old days, I had a big 5-gallon extractor that would hold 5 gallons of water. I'd mix in chemical. I found that I was using the number of cars that we were shampooing, I was using close to 5 gallons of carpet shampoo every week.
Right.
And that cost in my shop all of a sudden was completely negated because of the fact that with Rinseless I was able to do 256 to 1 in those.
Right.
And so I was using a very little amount and still getting the same results. And that's something I wanted to show everybody. It's not super sexy, it's not super fun, but this is something that you can do. And when you pair it with the current trifecta of you got Terminator, Carpet Bomber, and Finisher, you can now add Absolute into that to help clean and really deep clean a lot of that.
Right, yeah, because we like to use the cleaners to get the stains out, get them clean, but we really don't want to be leaving behind those surfactants because when you step on this, it cleans the bottoms of your shoes for you, right? So we have found over the years as detailers that if we try to eliminate the soaps as much as we could from the carpets, that they were having the results a lot longer. So that's where this comes in is, the Finisher does a great job on the Carpet Bomber, but this just kind of gives you that extra kick of removing everything, helping suck out the dirt, and leaves it behind super clean.
Plus you have the added ability of, again, your encapsulation and the emulsification of the product in the steamer, which is already steam on its own, creates an emulsification process. So for something like this, we'll just spray a little product on this dirty part of the carpet here. Taking our brush. I'm going to get a little more product on there. Not a lot. I'll show you different ways. So we'll do one part with the steamer, one part with the extractor.
Oh, you want me to leave the steamer hooked up for a second?
Yeah, it's fine. We'll leave that hooked up. It's good. So same kind of thing. What I like about this is very wet because it's been sitting. Ooh, that popped off. Sorry, this is the beauty of live. But so you can get your steam on there. In two ways, you can either come back over it with just a towel or take your shop vac, vacuum up everything, and leave that surface dry. The other way is to put it into your shampooer in your little carpet extractor here, and we can do another spot. Get a little product in there.
I did. Yep.
So then what you're going to do is you're going to press the hose button and it'll jump straight into it.
Give a little scrub.
Cool. So then when I do it at home, I just kind of spray it lightly over the surface, so not doing any of the major soaking or anything like you see on TikTok, right? This is a little short for this. And then you're just going to use the extractor to pull the rest of that up. And you can see how much dirt that's actually pulling out.
Yeah, and with very little water.
Yeah.
And what's nice on heavier stains, you can add a little more liquid.
Yep. And you see with that second pass, we're not quite pulling out as much dirt, so that means we almost got it, which is nice. So super easy. So yeah, we're just kind of using it almost just like as a rinse aid in this method.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But a rinse aid that's doing more than just water.
Yes,
would,
for sure.
In the sense that you've got that same
Yep.
effect. And that's what a lot of people I try to explain. That's what's so versatile about rinseless washes in
Right.
general. And that's
Yeah.
what I love about Absolute, is that it does that, because not every rinseless can do this. There
Right.
are a lot of rinselesses that are solely designed for the exterior paint. They're
Yeah.
only designed to wash.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
And even then, they're not even really designed to wash.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, that car's got to be already pretty clean because it doesn't have enough encapsulations. Maybe it's got SiO2 added to it. Maybe it's got graphene. Maybe
Yeah.
it's got a lot of protection that maybe doesn't need to be
Right.
there.
And I've had this situation, the unfortunate situation before. You mentioned SiO2. Sometimes that is added to things that we don't really know.
Right.
And I have added it through my steamer before. And once it cooled down and sat there, it essentially damaged the steamer,
Yeah,
right? Because
clogged.
those SiO2s are going to harden up and do what they're supposed to be doing, but they're not supposed to be on the inside of a steamer. So you definitely want to be careful with that, like you say, not all rinseless washes can go through, all these different machines that we're using. And we want to make sure that we don't ruin the machine. So that was one thing that we heavily tested.
Yeah.
I know for me, I literally put it in a steamer and let it sit with the steamer undisturbed for weeks just to see what would happen.
Yep,
And
I did the same.
Started up just fine.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, that's the other thing that's great about a proper rinseless wash is that when you use it in a steamer, when you use it in a heating element type shampooer, is it's actually going to do its job and help prevent that scale from building up.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that saves the tool,
Right.
which is a huge benefit as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And many people don't think about that.
Yeah.
Well, scaling can even happen. I mean, even distilled water, it can still scaling can still happen, right? It depends. Because
Yeah.
I've had some batches where on my steamer I use nothing but distilled water,
Yeah.
and I've used distilled water for a couple months.
Yeah.
Never had one issue.
Right.
I grabbed another batch of distilled water, poured it in. Right after a week, my steamer was spitting out calcium deposits, and I go, how did that happen? I only used distilled water in here, right? How is that possible? So sometimes, right, distilled water, I mean, it's best that we can typically buy, right?
Yeah.
You can't go to an Albertsons and say, I'd like to buy some deionized water, please. Do you have any of that in gallon sizes? They're going to say, what? Who are you? What do you need that for?
Yeah.
So distilled water, for the most part, it can still have that, but having something like this is going to still help
As an
prevent that
additive.
scaling. Yeah,
Yeah.
as an
Well,
additive.
and I'm sure you guys have tried this, but I want to bring it up, is the steamer to clean engines and wheels
it's amazing.
with no pre-cleaner. It
Oh, yeah.
actually works amazing. So I've had a couple engines that have come through that have been classic cars, and they make me nervous because I know all the nice sealed plastic engines of now. And so when those older ones come in, you're afraid of, getting water in the wrong spot or, chemicals in the wrong spot. So it's really nice to have a product like this that you can run through your steamer, and the Absolute does the work for you and breaks all that stuff up and does a great job cleaning the engine, and you know that you've safely done so. And then I've had it where my steamer's hot, and my wheels, they're so dirty, and I'll just walk up and steam my wheel real quick, wipe it down, perfect.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
Yep, absolutely.
I think I put the wrong attachment on there.
I don't know I'm looking at it right now. Like, what is this weird foam piece on the end there? No, this has been really useful information. It seems like everybody in the comments has really been enjoying this. I want to see if there's any other questions from Nick, because we're actually going to be kind of okay.
All right,
So we're going to be wrapping up the live demonstration right now, and we're going to be kind of shifting gears a little bit, changing some tables around, and then getting Dave and Bob out here for the Q&A portion, where we're going to do a deep dive here with you guys, answering all of your questions, whatever they may be, and we're going to have some fun with it. So we are about to head to break right now. You're going to be able to see that intro one more time. That's so funny, as well as a remote commercial break. And when we get back here, have your Absolute questions ready to rock and roll. So we'll see you in a minute.
All right. Well,
I love seeing that.
that's the best video.
I'll watch
we
it
had
1,000
so much
times.
fun doing that video.
That was like, you guys are great.
Thanks.
It's incredible.
Yeah,
Well,
playing with it.
welcome, Bob and Dave, for the big day. You guys
Yeah.
excited or what? Excited to be here?
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
So, Bob, we're going to be asking you all of the chemical questions. Is that okay?
Yeah, for sure. No, I just
anything-
defer to Dave.
Anything chemistry related is going straight to you, then it goes to Dave, and then it goes to the audience, right?
No,
Something
it's
like
very
that.
clear. I'm just the sales guy.
You're the sales guy, but you're also a lot of personality. You're a lot of fun to have on here, and he's got a great smile, and so hopefully making you guys smile as well. So Levi is over there behind the
I am
comments.
going through, looking and
And-
pulling up. There are a lot of people saying hello, a lot of people saying thanks, a lot of people
We're
saying
gonna
this is
go.
awesome.
We're gonna probably go to about where we are right now.
Basically where I'm trying to get to, making
So-
sure there's nothing that we're missing. Dana's done a great job keeping
Yes.
everybody going up.
He's done a
through
great
this.
job.
So
And the ether, right, as we call him, Netherworld Dane. So questions can start now. Anything pertaining to Absolute Rinseless Wash. What does it smell like? What does it look like? What can you use it on? What can't you use it on? We covered a lot of stuff in the video that we were just doing previously, but now we can actually jump into the weeds. And
Barry
I want
Cook is saying we need 32-ounce labeled Absolute bottles next.
32-ounce labeled
spray
Absolute
bottles.
The
bottles.
sales guy is aware of that.
Okay, really? Oh, really? Okay.
It's
okay.
already been a discussion. Yeah.
There we
Gotcha.
go.
Yeah.
So, and that would come, well, that would be like the same 32-ounce beer
Yeah.
maker bottle, but
Yep.
having that cool Absolute label on there
Yeah,
for your
exactly.
pre-diluted stuff.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
Right.
something that you can do at home is, go get a gallon of distilled water or just a gallon of water, mix in your capful into that, shake that up, and now just dispense that into your spray bottle. Right?
Yeah.
Now you're
Yep.
ready to go, 256 to 1 or 128 to 1 clay lube dilution, and have at it.
There you go. So I was trying to send a couple questions. I don't know if they've appeared. I don't know what's going. There we go.
There
All
we
right,
go.
perfect. Now we got that. So this was what we just talked about just a second ago. I thought,
Yes.
right before we went on. Ed Iverson saying, "Can we dump the dirty water all out onto the flower beds like ONR?" And Dave,
Right.
you've been doing that at home.
Absolutely. I'm sorry, I'm going to keep saying that. I don't mean to.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah,
a
yeah.
word that I use quite a
lot.
bit. It's not intentional. But yes, I've been doing that now for a little over a year. I've got a nice batch of ivy right next to where I wash my car. And I would say, I typically let the bucket sit around for a couple of weeks, and then I just toss it out on the side.
Yeah.
And so not down the drain. No one should go down a storm drain.
Okay.
So dumping it in the plants is exactly what you should do.
Okay, and it's not going to kill my plants.
No, it will not.
Heck yeah, I like to hear that because I've been dumping it in my grass, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm always like a little sketched out because I'm kind of weird about my grass, right? I have some of the nicest grass on my block, right?
There you go.
And I want people to know that. And so whenever I go to dump a new chemical in that, I would go, well, what's this going to do, right? But I've been dumping Absolute in there for
And no brown spots?
No brown
Yeah,
spots.
certainly
No,
the
last
other
6
option
months.
would be take it inside or put it in down a sewer or a sewer drain sort
Yeah.
of thing would be
Yeah.
the other option if you want to keep your chemicals out of the yard, which is
Yeah.
always a nice thing to do too.
And then we got Janet Cleaner says, Anthony is fired up for this one. I'm trying not to be fired up. I'm very passionate, but I think that people think that I'm not a picky person.
Yep.
I'm the pickiest person.
You are the
I'm
pickiest
the craziest, pickiest person.
Like-
So when people try to say well, have you thought of this? Or did you guys do this? Or did you guys do this? I'm like, don't you think that I'm more crazy than you? Don't you think that I asked these questions? Don't think I did this testing? And so it's just funny because some people may not know. Some people
Yeah.
just think that, guys, I'm more weird about my paint than you will ever be.
Yeah,
Probably.
I'll just gonna add that if you want to find out how picky, just develop a product for them.
Yeah,
That'll,
there you go.
And you'll find out
That'll-
initially how bad it sucks, and then what you got.
Yeah, but then when you're done, the dividends pay off, so it's great.
Yeah.
So if that helps at all, right? Tyler Cruz says, will this help treat a weird rash on the inner thigh? Asking for a friend. It's not like Windex, right, where you just spray it on
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
There's some rumors about other things like that. No, that's not the use I would recommend.
All right, and so Dino says, hello TRC, just got off work and ready to listen to the Father of Gloss and the Detailed Princess of Boise. Why am I getting that?
Yeah.
All right, moving on. I love Rinseless Washes. The issue is that I have a gallon of ONR and N914. It's going to be a while until I order. That's totally fine, Nick. We're not wanting you to go toss everything out, just to,
Absolutely, that's one of the good things about rinseless washes is that little goes a long way.
goes a long way.
there's just a lot of questions, a lot of not anything yet normal. But
down to the bottom.
I'm at
Are you
page
kidding
3.
me? We have, Levi, I have a page worth of questions that were on today's video.
I know,
right?
we have a bunch.
And
People
I
are
said,
just enjoying this.
I said, hey, come hang out with us
Yeah.
in the Q&A. Probably
They're
just
saying
our normal
great
audience.
price point, 32 ounce price is a bit cheaper than others, which is another reason it's awesome.
We think it is a great price point.
And then, are you sure that Rinseless is safe in the steamer? Yes, Nick, we have used it in my steamer, Sydney's steamer,
my steamer,
your steamer, Gabe's steamer, to the point that we were worried, and Jeff told us, I will buy you a new steamer if anything happens to him.
So at that point, we just
So
started
we were
throwing
like,
them in
yeah,
everything.
all right. So we started
So
throwing it in
you were hoping to
everything.
get a new steamer.
No, none of us got new steamers, but they're
None of
all
us got
still
new
working. So,
Yeah.
and it was
So
no issues.
We
One of the-
put
you go
5 to 6 steamers at risk in the
risk.
testing,
Yeah.
if that makes you feel any better.
Yeah, one of the things that this has been a long product launch for us. So, and I've explained to Jeff that one of the things is like a lot of the issues that might pop up. You know, we've had 5-6 months of constant testing and use to find out beforehand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I was going to say, you started telling me again that how, and I said this in the
Right, you
previous
did.
hour, but the ingredients in this Absolute are the same ingredients that help prevent that scaling.
Right, absolutely.
Inside
So a lot of the materials that you use will have multiple uses. So the same material that stops the water spots from adhering and basically polymerized and kept off the surface of the paint when it dries and gets hot are the same ones that keep it from scaling on the inside of a steamer and the heating coil.
Which I thought was super cool.
Yeah, that's super cool. I mean, and so it was a deliberate ingredient, right, to be able to. You know, prevent that.
Or a like effect, because ours was that it would dry on a surface. We kept asking, we need it to dry on a surface, but then be able to be re-wetted,
right,
without drying on the surface, so to speak, fully bonding and drying. And
Right.
that was something that you were really working on, and that's a key component. And ipso facto also does this. So super cool. If we get 250 likes, Anthony, Rinseless Wash Levi.
I'll do that.
That'd be great.
Actually, I don't know what we're at likes-wise right now, so I don't know if I want to take that risk.
Let's see, where we got else here? Oh, 60.
60, okay, we have a long way to go.
Yeah.
Yes, correct. This is the, Kim asked if this was the car we did the winter wash on in the back. Yes,
Yes,
was.
it is, yeah.
It was not coated back then. And then, oh man, there are.
I'm going to pull up my side.
You got a
as
couple
well
of
over
those.
here.
A lot of these are a lot of people just making jokes. There's Alex Dewar saying, Dave and Bob, happy to have you. So, Dave, why don't you go through and give us some of the fun facts and when you were building this product.
Right.
How all that went.
Yeah, so we started this, basically almost 2 years ago now?
Yeah.
With a list and request and demo from you and Sydney and Kyle, basically, as I remember.
Yep.
I took videos of the whole process. It was, and as we worked through and talked about it, there were, we've mentioned several times, a laundry list of things that needed to be accomplished. So we started with the basics. So dirt encapsulation, hard water, usability, being able to use it in sun, good cleaning, good wipe off, nice clean finish. One of the things that I think we haven't, and I mentioned earlier, and one of the things that is most important to me is that car's clean.
Yeah.
My car, when I do it, it's clean. And I just really like it, and it really looks clean.
Yeah.
So, so that is, I think, a really big important thing. Then there were the other, the other issues. Can you leave it in the bucket? Will it go bad? Will the dirt drop out? Does it not emulsify the dirts and the oils? Will the dirts fall out the bottom and the oils flow to the top, and leaving you with a nice clean solution? I don't know. We got to think of all of the steamers.
Yeah.
No smell in the bucket.
No smell in the bucket. Yes, that it
one.
stays fresh in the bucket.
Yeah, because there was a couple different Renselesses that we had been playing with that we noticed within 24 hours with nothing in the bucket.
Right.
If you left them, it started to get pretty stinky. it
Right.
started to change. The chemistry just started to go
Mildewy,
off, or it'd get mildewy, or it'd grow a slime in
Right.
the bucket, or it would.
No foam. So,
Right.
and we're pretty close to no foam.
Yeah.
So no surfactants and emulsifiers that are gonna leave the dirt and soil stuck in the solution. I kind of mentioned that earlier,
Yeah.
but that's one of the things that we took out. Or made sure weren't in it. We didn't take them out, but we made sure they weren't in it. What else? I mean, it's just
Yeah, the biggest thing is that this isn't a soap-based
right.
rinseless, because a lot of people did make
So
a comment.
I
was,
got a
you
comment.
guys
I got a
use
question here.
pearl.
Says, is this a polymer-based rinseless?
Yes,
solution?
it is.
It is polymer-based.
Yeah, so one of the things was we don't make anything like this at P&S Sales. We did not make anything like this
Yeah.
at P&S Sales 2 years ago. So whereas I think I mentioned this to maybe Bob earlier today, we might look at a new product and I go, well, hey, I got something almost like that. Let's just
Right.
start. Let's maybe, not start with a new wheel. Let's take a wheel we've got and maybe modify it a little bit. In this case, we had to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, literally to the point that you had to you got a new ingredient
I have
that literally got released,
Yes.
and that all of a sudden made.
several new
the cake
ingredients
work.
made in a completely different way that we'd never made a product before in the past. So I'm really happy with that. What we did was we took the functionality we were looking for, all the things we wanted it to do, and then I started figuring out how to put that together using what I think is a really novel way to do it. So I'm really pleased with this product, and
Yeah,
we
we're
really like
excited.
the results.
Okay. And what did Bob think when the?
I have a story for that.
When the rinseless thing, when the rinseless idea, the idea of creating rinseless came out, what was your thoughts?
Well, I don't think
You called me.
I don't think I understood the scope of
scope.
use.
Yeah.
That how many detailers actually use Rinseless.
Yeah.
Just because of our history in the business, being in a long time, it was about washing the car
Yeah.
the traditional way.
Yeah.
It wasn't about, a rinseless method.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it really wasn't until I went to Sydney's shop and I started experiencing Rinseless, and I went, wow, there's something to this. And then I remember Dave working on the product, and it was very interesting. You go out there with a couple of buckets, and then there'd be a couple of buckets sitting around, and there'd be like a towel sitting over the bucket. I'm like, what are you doing? He goes, I got to make sure it doesn't smell. All the things that we were just talking, all the boxes. And then one day he's out front of my office, and he's applying this product on the car out in direct sunlight, and then he dries it with a towel, and he comes over my window, and he goes, tap, tap, tap. I'm off, and he goes, you got to come out here for a second. So I go out front, and he goes, do me a favor, wipe this on the car. So I take the sponge, I wipe it on the car, I do the whole thing, and then I come back with the, the drying towel.
Liquidator?
Liquidator, thank you, Liquidator. The Liquidator towel, and I go to try it, and I'm like, wow, what was that?
Yeah.
That was pretty amazing experience.
Well,
how the water
I believe
just
the comment was, why would you ever wash a car another way?
I mean, it really kind of changed my whole, mindset.
Yeah.
And I think the exciting opportunity for us is we're actually in that space, thanks to the collaborative effort of the Rag Company and Sydney and Dave and and everybody in Rennie to get to that product. And then Dave takes such a unique approach to it that it wasn't a remake; it was a ground-up formula. So, from a sales perspective, I'm excited to be, selling product in a new space and creating new opportunities for our customers.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. And Graham wanted to know any Absolute on its way over the pond. And John
I do believe there's an air shipment
that's we heard
departing today. Yeah.
So it's on its way to Clean and Shiny as we speak. So that'll be great. And then Brionicle, the great comment. What's up, everyone? This is an awesome product. I'm disappointed in Dane giving Levi and that other guy the wrong Absolute. Time to boycott the Twitch live streams.
Yeah.
So
Brionicle
that
knows.
other guy, and then there. Oh, this is a good one here. Is there any risk with possible rinseless vapors from the steamer?
Like
No.
health risk?
No, health risk. No.
No. All the materials in it are pretty, relatively wholesome. It is a rinseless wash product, but you're starting off at 256 to 1 to start with, and then they're all pretty low hazard for sure.
I wouldn't go,
Well,
snorting
don't
the
drink
steam.
it.
I mean, come on, let's be.
Yeah. But I mean, with how much I've been smelling it over the last,
You smell things,
I smell things a lot. How often I'm smelling things in the bottle. If anything bad was going to happen to me, I'm sure it already would have. So I think that you're safe there. So one of the questions here that I saw for Dave is, why is Absolute so thick?
Basically because we wanted it to be that way.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
we wanted it. We actually started off thicker. We have been slowly reducing the viscosity a little bit. In that case, I really like the way it looks and feels. It's got some good body to it.
Yeah, it's got some body.
And that is a function. It's not actually a thickener. That is a function of the ingredients that are actual active ingredients in the product. And so it's exactly, when it turned out that way, I just went, perfect.
Plus, from a marketing
really like
perspective, we wanted it to look different.
Yeah,
Right?
well,
We want it to look
absolutely.
like-
Well,
yeah.
because that's the thing. Some people are really, and this is something that people got over the last several years. But I mean, like I'm talking like recent several years. Is that when they were initially mixing some of the first rinseless out there, they were going, well, I just feel like I'm putting water in water, right?
Yeah,
and
right.
They didn't really understand the chemistry behind it and why it's like that, but they felt unsafe. They felt unsure about it. They expected it to be thicker, right? So the fact that we actually have a thicker, absolute rinseless wash now, I think for those new timers or those new people that are getting into it will help them maybe have a little more confidence in knowing that you are putting a chemical into this. You're not mixing what feels like water into the solution. So, and once it's mixed and you feel that solution with your hand, you feel that slickness, you're going to go, okay, I get it.
There's something there.
There's something there. I get it now.
Yeah, I think one of the most amazing things is using is the clay lube too.
Oh, clay lube is
phenomenal.
phenomenal.
With the towel, the
Reset clay towel.
reset clay towel. Yeah, just amazing.
Yeah.
That was another one of the early
We need to be able to use it as a
requirements.
clay lube.
It has to be used to be able to use as a clay lube. And I think Sydney actually just leaves hers sometimes in the bucket.
Yeah.
And it has no effect on the towel whatsoever.
Yeah.
And that's a huge one.
Well, and Levi remembers when I got I recently purchased a used car, right?
Yeah.
It's like 16, 17 years old. And I did actually the first wash in here, right? I did a pressure washer, soap and water wash, but then after that I brought it in under the hex lights and I said, okay, I'm going to clay the car, throw like a sealant or throw something on there. And so I ended up using the Absolute as a clay lube and going through, and we were, scrubbing everything down with the clay with the clay towel and the clay mitt, I think is what we were using, and also a new prototype, something that I can't talk about. But we're going through, claying everything, and I literally had to go grab everybody from inside the office here. I said, hey, everybody come out and feel this, and everybody starts coming out there and they go, oh my God.
Yeah.
They're like, wow, there's all these rock chips all over the car, and there's all these paint imperfections, but holy crap, if this isn't the smoothest feeling surface. And they're like, what do you put on here? Like, what is a bead maker on here? What do you put on here? I said, that's a clay lube and just the slickness of the paint after using Absolute. And they were like, mind blowing.
Yeah, for those of you that don't use like the clay towels and that sort of stuff, so you can tell I like this product because I'm now giving it to all my friends and saying, here, it's not
He
released
didn't say that.
yet.
He goes, this is the only product I'm giving out. I'm like,
I like
This
product.
weekend, Dave shows up with quarts of product. Hey, you guys are here.
You got to try this.
He never gives any.
Yeah.
He never
Yeah,
gives
but,
anything away.
But I was demoing on a friend's car because nobody that I know really understands rinseless washes,
Right.
so I have to do little demos. But as I'm done, I'm going like, oh, you don't clay this car, do you? I'm so used to car paint feeling so great, and all of a sudden these bumps. It's like, okay, I got more to share with you than just the Absolute
Get them
Rinseless.
addicted. Get them going.
Well, and Perfect Detail USA, who one of our grand ambassadors, right?
Yeah.
So one of the perks of being a grand ambassador is sometimes, right, down the road, if you do a good job and you're a grand ambassadorship, I notice these things and I will kind of be picking and choosing and send products out to certain people, right? Just the way that I know are going to be doing some testing, and so I ended up sending a couple of products out. Just a couple of the people that I knew, we're going to use it, and Perfect Detail got it in, and he just made a comment that says 100% will be using this, will be the go-to clay lube. And so he said he smelled it, he said he couldn't stop smelling it, and then and he creates some amazing reel posts and amazing story posts that we reshare more often than probably people see. And so I'm excited to see him and his journeys using that there on Instagram.
Yeah. Patrick's question, when will it be available in Europe? He did just text you and put in his order for the product.
He did, yeah.
As soon as it gets in a container,
A couple
and heads
pallets
over,
going in that container.
Yeah.
We don't want it to get to him by St. Patrick's Day.
Yep.
Right. We'll make sure it gets there a little bit sooner.
Yeah. Gorillanissimo saying in Optimum Forums they stated that you can use ONR at 100 ounces per gallon as a waterless wash. Could Absolute be what?
10 ounces.
10 ounces.
Oh, good.
10 ounces.
Sorry,
Oh my
the way it
God.
looks. 10 ounces to a gallon as a waterless wash. Could Absolute be diluted as a waterless wash? I do midweek waterless washes on my car. So I remember this.
So they have Epic.
Yeah.
And so PNS has Epic, which is their go-to waterless wash.
Right.
But I would say I feel 100% confident, I do personally, in going 128 to 1 if you wanted to go that same dilution, right? And if you wanted to do a waterless wash.
or
using
64 to 1.
Or 64 to 1. 64 to 1 I think kind of goes into that quick detail kind of category.
Yeah, but so recently we were in Monterey for Car Week,
Yep.
the whole PNS team.
That's true. You guys were
And
bring that up,
I had a series of cars, myself and Kyle and Sydney and Josh and Jimmy and Anthony Blaine here, and we had 92 cars that are sitting out on an airfield or a airport
Yeah.
next to a dirt parking lot that the wind was picking up and it was blowing silt from the sand trap of the golf course all over the cars. And the cars were getting this fine layer of silt. And we were using paint gloss to try and lift the dirt and get it off. And it was doing a good job, but it was also warm. And so it was drying
Right.
very
Lot of
quickly
work.
in the sun. It was taking a little more work for us to get them wiped down. And halfway through, we switched and made up we were running out of paint gloss, so we made some bottles of Absolute. And we said, screw it, let's just start using this, because we had brought it solely for photographs. And all of a sudden, all of us, instantaneously, as we're spraying and using this stuff, we had a longer working time on the surface. We had greater encapsulation, and we were able to get those cars looking cleaner, quicker, faster, and stronger, but with less streaking because it wasn't drying in the sun as fast.
Well,
as
you're not,
the
and you're not
paint gloss
putting
was.
protection on protection on protection.
And we're not layering that protection. And so for us, it worked really well. Now, those cars had been wiped 3 or 4 times already in the previous days. And once we switched to Absolute, it was a piece of cake. Because those cars had some bead maker, some of them had dream maker a couple times on them, different things, because they had to look good for multiple events. And this was the final event for some of these cars, was just going over the auction block. But it worked to the point that all of us were kind of, we were tired and we were kicking ourselves that we had to do it for the last 50 cars instead of the first 50 cars.
Right.
That it took us 50 to get through before we did it. But it really came in clutch and saved the day. And next time we have to do that, it's just going to be Absolute for that situation because it works so well in that safe. So yes, I would say you could probably do that. Ethan saying, I like having my Rinseless in a rags to riches type bottle. Is Absolute going to be too viscous to go through this type of bottle? No. It's more of a production issue.
Yeah.
Well, no.
At the moment.
He's asking.
No.
He's asking if he could use
it.
Yeah.
Oh,
in his bottle.
Yeah,
You
go
can use
for
the
it.
bottle,
Yeah,
for sure.
use your bottle that
100%.
way if you want.
100%.
Yeah.
And
Save those bottles, save them for rags to riches too, and buy a gallon and keep refilling that.
Yeah, that's
It's a lot
another
of
reason.
packaging on that bottle,
Yeah.
and I'm not
it's
sure
a
it's
sturdy
environmentally. It's a sturdy bottle. It's not necessarily really environmentally responsible to keep throwing those bottles away. It's a great opportunity to just
Great
save them
idea.
and refill them.
Yeah,
Save
but you
all
could.
that stuff, yeah.
But you could fill it up and do it that same way. We just, for the launch, we had talked about doing something like that.
Right.
But it was a production issue. It takes a lot longer to fill those.
Twin neck bottle.
Yeah. It's
Special machine.
Special machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then Bill Pearson saying, howdy Bob and Dave, looking forward to trying Absolute. Is it Zwitterionic, as Levi likes to say?
Likes to say that. Well, being that we aren't changing the pH throughout the use, I don't know if it really matters, but yes, it does have some amphoteric
There you go.
materials in there.
There you go. Answering that one.
There you go. I'm gonna counter your Zwitterionic with an amphoteric. There you go.
I don't even know what that means.
There you go.
But I'm here for the party. Ron Ayotte says, I have rags to riches question. I had some totally gel on the bottom of the container. How can I ungel rags to riches?
Shaking it up, the gels will just dissolve in the wash if you put them in there. It's been a while now. So, but my first bottles of Rags to Riches, I would get a couple little gels that would come through, and we've taken care of that issue. But it is a cosmetic issue and not a functional issue.
Yeah, I've told people I just put a little more water in the bottle if there's any left over, shake it up, and then.
I'm never worried about it because my washing machine sees too many other things, right?
Yeah, right.
Because I had a little bit of gel in one of mine, right? And this was I don't know, many months ago, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to put this on my washing machine. And I can hear my wife in the laundry room, right? Hear her opening something, and I hear this weird sand sound. And I walk in there, I go, what are you doing? She's like, putting scent beads into the wash. And then she's like tossing it in, and I go, I feel less bad about the gel now, right? Considering it's full of scent beads and whatever the heck else is in it, and so I'm like, yeah, whatever, right? So
bath beads, right?
Yeah, not a big deal, man. So then we have Gustavo says, is it safe to use in the sun? Absolutely, 100% safe to use in the sun. Prefer the shade, but we all prefer the shade, right?
I'll prefer the shade. When I can do the whole car. When I go around the whole car and then start drying it, that's my favorite. When you start using it in the heat in the sun, then you got to break the car up into quarters and all that sort of stuff. Because it's not fun to wipe off when it dries. But you can certainly get it wet again very quickly, as the demo has said. But I think it's more fun to just be able to do the whole car and dry it off.
Yep. It can absolutely be used in the sun. Try it off for shade if you can.
And then Ken Jeeper, any similarities that would make Bead Maker work especially well with it?
There are not necessarily similarities, however, we certainly have tried it with Bead Maker quite a bit. So it works, as Bob says and Sydney says, they play well together.
Yes.
It's like a sandbox.
Yeah. Well, and Ken Jeeper has a lot of questions, right? Because Ken Jeeper is one of the guys in the comments who he likes to ask the hard questions. And so now that he's here, I want to see him give it to us. Drop a couple of us, Ken. We know you like the hard questions.
Randy Ricochet says the Absolute commercial was fantastic. Thank you, Randy. Yeah. Shad Stoker saying Absolute is incredible. You guys kill it on this one. So smart getting the TRC Brain Trust involved in this one. Thank you.
True.
That's usually true.
So I guess I had a couple questions as well.
Yeah.
So Absolute shelf life, right? Is there a recommended time to where, let's just say I have a gallon of it, I'm going through it, I haven't done that many washes this year. Is there any type of shelf life thing to be kind of worried about with Absolute in a gallon?
No, there's no reason. No, there's no shelf life issue, at least that we know of yet. I've got product that's been sitting around for well over a year.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, part of the deal with making sure your bucket stays fresh is going to help keep the product fresh.
Yeah. Okay. And then shaking up the product if it's been sitting for a while. That's pretty much
I haven't seen it separate yet.
Okay.
So, but shaking up is always a good idea.
Yeah. Sure. Well, I shake up my paint gloss if it's been sitting for too long.
Yeah,
I shake up my bead maker if it's been sitting too long. So just try to shake everything up, and then I say our own recommendations would be try to store it in a nice, cool, dry area.
I always say climate climate controlled or temperature controlled. You never want to go too hot.
Yeah.
With your detail polish.
Joshua Kent says, I saw someone else ask on Instagram, will there be a wash and wax? So, I guess to clarify, sometimes in rinseless washes, there are people that will put like a carnauba-based liquid into with the rinseless.
Or like we said, some of them have like graphene, some of them have SiO2s in them, some of them
have some protective qualities. And would you guys ever make a protective, like an Absolute with protection?
There is not a plan that I know of. Of course, Bob's, the marketing guys. You guys are the marketing guys. It would not be too hard to do.
Not unless there was a want for it, maybe.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think that using it, pairing it with Bead Maker or Dream Maker already.
Well, the way I see it is the product literally was just launched and people already have special requests.
Yeah.
Give us some breathing room, everybody. Right. Let us enjoy what we just got. But maybe down the road, who knows? I'm actually going to jump over to Instagram and check out to see if there's any comments there as well.
I mean, there's a lot. It's hard to go through. I've got 17 pages of questions, but most of them are all people saying, hello, how you doing?
Patrick, that one was, can you use it as a wash solution?
Yeah.
In your, I have not tried that.
In your washing machine?
No,
in your reservoir. In your reservoir.
Yeah.
And I have not tried that. I certainly can.
Yeah.
I will say that it's so good on glass that I take it out in the backyard and do the glass and like all the sliding glass doors and windows and stuff in my backyard because it works so well on glass. It works better than like the glass, any
So
glass
there's a lot of
cleaners
people that do
used.
ask that for the ONR. They ask if they could use it as a windshield wash solution. We always say, like,
Use windshield washer
just use
fluid.
windshield washer fluid. It's what it's designed for. It's also not going to freeze if you're in an area that's going to freeze. That's because it's got glycol and other stuff in it. It's just, a lot of people are like that with, well, put this in there. I wouldn't. That's just me.
No, everybody likes to do their own experiments,
they do.
right? Like maybe you're like Dane and like do some experiments behind the bar, right?
Yeah, you
Mixing
just
up
don't
some
know.
absolute.
Start mixing it up.
So I guess a couple of things where, so you guys were over in Monterey, right? Like you had mentioned, you guys were there doing all of that. So I wanted to ask Bob, what did the other, I guess some of the Detail Mafia and some of the other detailers there think of Absolute as their first impressions? Because some of these guys may have not used rinseless washes before, right?
Right.
Or some of them have.
Yeah.
So what was their feedback that they gave you?
Well, the hardest thing was to keep it under wraps, right?
Oh, correct. Yeah.
Yeah, we
couldn't let
kind of
the
didn't
secret
let
out.
them. We kind of didn't let them
Yeah.
see it, and literally that morning on the quail, the last day on the quail, a lot of them started swarming around our wagon, looking at the product, going, pulling their phones out.
Who was the hardest person to keep away from it? Was there a couple people that were?
William Lara.
William
We saw
Lara,
him.
of course.
William
We
Lara,
saw him
yeah.
post.
Yeah.
We had to tackle him many
Yeah.
times.
Did he try to run away with
sneaking
it?
out. Yeah, he kept sneaking out and going live.
Yeah.
And
But there were a couple people got to use it,
Yeah.
so they were pretty blown away. They're like,
Yeah.
that's a definite winner product. Yeah.
And then also too, I mean, we wanted to have Rennie here be able to pop in, but the technical side of things was a little bit too complicated on that end. But Rennie has also really started, loving Rinseless Wash. He's really been preaching that within his
Yeah, well, he's
trainings
been, of course, on the test team, right?
Yeah.
He's been working with it for 6 months to a year like everybody else has, yeah.
And so he has just been, I just know that back in the day, right, when he was using Pearl as a rinseless, because we can kind of touch upon that.
Right.
Pearl was a rinseless in a pinch.
we've always said.
In a pinch. That's
Soap form,
Soap
right?
form.
Yeah.
Soap form. It can be used in a pinch, but this is kind of, now he's like he's got the addiction, right? He's got the drip, the rinseless.
Yeah.
He loves it. He's really all about it because the efficiency standpoint. It's amazing when you're in a shop setting and when you're trying to teach efficiency.
Well, and what I used to tell, when I used a rinseless in my shop, and I used it to replace my soap. So my guys would prep a vehicle for detail. They would degrease, clean the wheels, pressure wash the vehicle, get all the bugs off the front, all that kind of stuff, wash out the door jambs, the engine, all that stuff. And then instead of going over it with soap, they would just use rinseless over it.
Right.
Then they would just pull them out, park them in my parking lot, leave them. They wouldn't even dry them.
Yeah.
Back in the old days, we would chamois them, but they would just leave dirt marks everywhere. So I just said, no, we're just going to rinse it, pull it out, and set it. And then my guys, when they would pull it in, they'd immediately start working on the car, cleaning the interior, doing all that stuff. And when they get ready to detail and start on the exterior portion of the detail, they would have buckets of rinseless in their bays with sponges, and they would just re-wet the vehicle and wipe it, dry it all down. And it was an easy way for us to change steps, so to speak. I was saving time in the wash bay, and my guys were going to be wiping the cars down 10 times anyway during the process, so why not just add that in there? And they would clay it. Once they get it wet, they'd clay it. Some of them figured out sprayers, started using that. They just re-wet the whole thing and clay the surface and do all the stuff that we needed to do.
Yeah.
So,
Truth be told about Rennie, though, he's always been a rinseless guy.
Yeah.
But he was a PNS team player.
Yeah, that's true.
So he adapted Pearl to be his rinseless, knowing that we didn't have a rinseless.
Right.
Yeah.
And so then, he's always been a rinseless guy.
Yeah,
So
I do remember that.
it was on his checkbox for us to have a rinseless for a long time.
Yeah,
So,
Pearl itself is, for a soap, I've tried other of our shampoos as a rinseless and have been,
they don't work.
really
friendly.
disappointed.
Right.
And then I realized, this does work really well as a rinseless, but it works as a rinseless as a soap, and there are downsides to that for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and Scott Matern saying, should gloves or glasses be worn, or is Absolute pretty safe? Very safe.
Okay, so here's the deal. As a chemist and a person that works in an industrial situation, I'd be remiss to say you shouldn't wear safety glasses for just about everything you do. So that is, I couldn't be responsible and not say that. But no, there's no particular hazard in this case. Now, as far as gloves are concerned, there's allergies for people. Fragrances are actually a big culprit in terms of allergies and that sort of stuff. So you can't always guarantee that someone's not going to have a reaction to something. I've never had a problem at all. I've had my hands in this stuff quite a bit. Yeah. Now, in the application itself isn't one that you're spraying things. Well, you got your spray pre-application. So anytime you're spraying something around, you should have safety glasses on for sure.
Yeah. You never want to spray anybody in the face.
Exactly. Right? Jeff C says, is Absolute effective at removing road salt, or is there another PNS product that could be used to neutralize salt? Would like to see PNS product like Salt Gone, claimed to be a chelating agent.
Chelating.
Did I say chelating?
Chelating. I like
Chelating.
It's the new term.
Chelating.
We chelate.
Chelate. So what do you think?
Well, actually, I think people that deal with salt would be a better person. I think Sydney's probably approached this a couple times. And so I had this question brought to me by Kyle the other day. The problem with salts is they have a thing called an ionization constant to them. They only so much dissolves in water. You can't change the water so that more salt dissolves in them. You might be able to change the pH, some things like that, but that's not going to be predictable based on just the various salts, and you're not going to be wanting to wash your car down with acid every time, that sort of thing.
Right.
So yes, the chelating, the polymers chelate, they do stuff like that, but I don't know how much they actually improve the salt removal process.
Good answer. And then I've got one here. We'll say, there we go. When using product in an IK sprayer, Absolute Brake Buster, etc., can I leave products in the IK sprayer? Yes, you can. Or do you need to clean them out after each use? No, I just say depressurize them.
Depressurize them, and the next time you go to use it, shake it up.
Yep. Patrick saying, Rinseless Wash is really underrated in the industry, but I know that if you give it a try, it will take away the doubt. It will save you so much time as a detailer, and time is money, or even better. And then he says, spending time with your loved ones. And Barry DeHart, doesn't matter if with Absolute, if you use that and the car is just covered with mud, will it still do a good job, or in the winter months help with room salt? So that's where your pre-soak comes in.
Yeah.
And realistically, think of this, Barry, as a replacement to your soap. You're still going to pressure wash. You can still pressure wash the car. You can still use your garden hose.
Yeah.
You can still rinse the vehicle off prior.
So use common sense.
Use your common sense and then do this.
Yeah. And I think if you ever sit there and you're taking your mitt and you put it on a glob of mud on your car and start wiping it around and think that it's going to be protected. No, there's nothing that's going to nothing that's going to take care of that. But if you can remove the majority of it, there's some good surface soil encapsulation.
Dane has been doing an awesome job in the rag company comments here, saying
ski chelating is a nice place to stay in the winter.
And then Shad. Oh, there we go. Kirby Thompson. Dave, since product is a bit thicker, will it come out of a solution at the 1 to 255?
No, it does not. It sits there.
Yeah. And then Shad, what's the freeze point when used in the winter by mobile detailers?
So we have done the freeze thaw test. It's made it well through 2 freeze thaw cycles, which is kind of the gold standard. A lot of things will make it through 1 freeze thaw cycle, and they won't make it through the second. The freezing point is around 30 degrees, 0 degrees Celsius. It hasn't changed significantly from that, but don't let your products freeze if you can help it.
It doesn't lower the freezing point of water, though.
It doesn't lower the freezing point.
Yeah.
There we go.
Not an antifreeze.
Yeah, it's not an antifreeze. And then Phyllis Foreman Terry of T4 Detailing, was Absolute the rinseless wash we used during the Auto Geek class a couple months ago?
Terry. Yes, it was.
There you go.
You got a sneak peek.
And then Nash is absolutely also great for soaking dirty towels in before washing with R2R.
I soak with R2R.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing
Is that a thing?
Why don't you just soak it with
Soak it,
R2R?
exactly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you soak it with R2R and then wash with R2R,
Yeah, there's no need to.
that way you don't have to buy another product if you don't need to use it for that, right?
Yeah, the surface activity of rags to riches is going to be different. It's going to be attacking those fibers, or not attacking the fibers themselves, but attacking the soil that's attached to the fibers while it's sitting in there.
Yep.
I mean, certainly Absolute is designed to do a similar thing to the surface of the car to displace those soils and lift them, but it's not to the same degree because rags to riches had to be designed for the massive amount of surface area that's found on a microfiber towel.
Right. There you go. Ron Ayotte saying, will TRC put together a total synergistic system with PNS products? Pretty much everything in the double black line works together perfectly.
Yeah.
Everything's designed to work together. So, and we've already stated that you can use the towel with the perfectly. Dave is not telling us he had a third arm surgically removed from his from using Absolute without gloves. You can. And then wrong. Is it just me, or does Rinseless Washing just get? Or is that Aaron G? Wrong. Aaron G. Is it just me, or does Rinseless Washing just clean better? I did a regular wash this weekend, and it just never ends up as clean and spot streak free as when I do a rinseless wash.
I agree.
I'm going to agree too. It was one of those things that Bob and I are both looking at our cars going like,
Well,
I think it's cleaner.
It's just like cleaner.
Well, and I will say this.
That's
like
pretty subjective, but
we're in the middle of summer. We're in the middle of a hot summer here in Boise. Yeah. There are places that are under water restrictions all over the world. And like I've said, if you don't know how to do a rinseless wash and all of a sudden your water, like what they've got going on in the UK, they got a hose pipe ban, meaning they can't use the garden water.
Yep.
So they've got to fill up maybe a bucket in their garage or in their house at the sink, or they're going to go buy some distilled water. This is the perfect time to learn how to use a rinseless wash properly. Yeah. Because as stuff happens and these issues are going to get more and more frequent, this is the best way to do this with rinseless washing. And it's a skill set that I keep telling you guys. For those of you that don't understand it, don't care to understand it, don't want to understand it, this is a skill set in the exact same way that a paint correction is a skill set. Installing a coating is a skill set. Laying PPF is a skill set. This is a thing you have to learn as a detailer to kind of climb that ladder in your training and capability of detailing. It's very simple and easy to do. But I was telling Dave previous, when I had my shop, Bob, the water froze one winter into my shop. The city water froze. And I had 3 days of frozen lines, and I didn't have water in my shop. I couldn't use any water, I couldn't get any water, so I had to go get distilled water. Yeah. Because I had cars still, and I couldn't just close and say, hey, sorry guys, the water's shut off. I had just opened. I'd only been open maybe 2 months in my business, and the water shut off. And it was only because it was frozen solid. And so I had to make do with that and had to learn how to do rinseless washing in my shop to keep my business going, to get cars finished, to get them clean, to get them out the door for the customers. And that's a key point that's going to happen at any point.
Yeah. The takeaway too on rinseless is that it's less work.
Yeah.
It really is less work. I wasn't a firm believer of that, but it's less setup.
Yep.
Everything about it is just less work.
It takes me roughly 15 to 20 minutes to set up for a soap and water wash with a 2-bucket wash method. Because I have to pull out my my pressure washer hose, right? I have to get my inlet going, and then I need to grab both my buckets, fill up both my buckets, grab my foam cannon. I have to grab my wash mitt. I have to set up my drying towel. I have to figure out what I'm going to use for a drying aid. I have to grab my wheel brushes and another bucket with everything else, and I have to do this whole process, right? It's a whole process. It literally, like I said, it could be 15 or 20 minutes, maybe even 30 minutes to set up. After the time I'm done with the wash and put away, I could be into that wash, an hour and 15, an hour and 30 minutes, right? Whereas with a rinseless wash, I pull the car into the garage, I grab my pump sprayer, I fill up my product in the pump sprayer, add that in there, grab my 1 bucket, maybe 2 if it's filthy, put my product in the bucket, put my wash media in there, grab a drying towel, pre-spray it, start wiping everything down with my mitt or my sponge, do the whole car, go around, dry that, go to my wheels, spot shoot my wheels, grab my towel with my leftover product in my bucket with a new towel, wheel towel, clean out my wheels, dry my wheels, and I'm done. And then my put away is literally I pull my mitt out or my towels out, set those aside, dump my bucket into my grass, put my sprayer away, and I'm already on the road.
Yeah.
Yep. And right now, anybody that's buying the bucket kit, has a potential. You have to buy the bucket kit.
No, you don't.
Or no, Absolute. That's
Absolute.
it.
Just
you
anything with Absolute in it.
You have to buy Absolute. You get entered into a giveaway of winning a bucket. But if you bought a bucket kit in your order and you win the giveaway, we comp you the bucket that you bought. You got 15 more minutes to get their orders in for Absolute to get entered into that. Tony Mazel saying, Rinseless Wash, straight to inspiration soul, still paint prep needed? Will paint prep properly prepare the paint for the coating? So paint prep, yes.
Yes, paint prep,
I would not install a coating, Tony. You know better than that. But he's playing devil's advocate, I think.
He is. I think he is. I think he's messing with us. So, so you'd use paint prep always before putting any type of coating or long-term protection product on, especially if you want it to stick properly.
Tony, nice new shop.
I know, he's doing great, looking good.
Looking sharp.
And then we have Aaron G311 says, I just love the fact that I can wash my truck out in the sun, in the garage, and get amazing results. Out of the sun, in the garage, get amazing results. I can't wait to try it. David Blowy. That's not his real name,
No, but that's what they've been calling him since he blew a tire on the fire truck.
Oh, really? Says, all right, not sure if my stuff got answered as I was gone. However, will this replace Onr for you guys? Stability in the bucket, same cleaning ability as Onr, bugs and such, slickness, and all that. So I answered all this earlier. We will still continue to sell Onr, and we will use both Onr and Absolute as we prefer to use so on a day-to-day basis around the shop. Or at home or whatever it may be, but I will tell you that, I mean, it's kind of like when I get home and I wash my car and I say, do I want to use Dream Maker or Bead Maker today? I mean, honestly, I always figure out which one I want to do, right? But I like to change it up quite often. So we're not saying that you need to go toss your Onr. Still use it, but this is something that you can also incorporate that's going to offer you a different experience. And so, but yeah, this product is slicker than Onr on hard surfaces for sure. Flack Pyro says, I rinseless wash 5 to 6 months of the year during winter. Usually go between Onr and N914. Is Absolute dethroning Onr finally, or is it equal? I don't think, I mean, the thing is, I don't think that you guys were specifically coming in to dethrone something. I think you guys wanted to create something that was your own. That could be something that could be used. And then whether or not people have a preference, that's up to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Good answer.
A lot of absolutelys.
I'm sorry. I think it's become a habit or something. We're gonna.
Ken Jeeper says, I just ordered also some more bead maker. I want to try Jamie's cleaner maker mix.
Nice.
And then Graham says, I introduced a friend with no access to an outside water supply to rinseless washing. He's never been into keeping his cars clean because of this until now. He washes every week.
Just easier.
It's pretty crazy. So
I wash my car more often now too.
Well,
I used to use the excuses like people would go like, your car's dirty. It's like, yeah, but I need something to test on. And since it's so easy, I kind of threw that excuse out the window.
Just Dean responding. And then Kirby Thompson, I've started using a rinseless product in my wheel bucket instead of soap. I will give the Absolute a try in the future. There you go.
Nice.
And then Joshua Kent asking, will Clarity Cream remove light scratches from wiper blades?
It is not a glass polish.
No, Clarity Cream. Clarity Cream.
It's not a glass polish. Clarity Cream. Well, I mean, it's not a glass.
If you have
it's
wiper
not
blade
a glass polish.
Yes.
So it will not remove glass.
Scratches in glass, but maybe wiper blade marks.
Yes, right. And it helps clean the glass properly and remove all the extra contamination stuff that gets kind of baked into that. But like you say, it's not. Back in the old days, on cars from the 40s and 50s, you could buy a cerium oxide glass polish and repolish.
Right, that's
you could
the one
sand
I'm talking
glass and repolish it like you could paint back in the old days. And there are some hot rods that do that.
Can't do it
builders,
with the windshield.
but you can't do it with the current style windshields that have been on the market for at least since safety glass was invented. Basically, because there's too much laminates. And so once those laminates are scratched, it's a little harder to remove that. So, let's see here. Joey Belinsky saying, I mixed up a batch of Clean Maker and I'm a 100% believer. There you go.
Nice.
Ken Jeeper says, I still use soap and my pressure washer on my wheels and tire. Wasn't for that, I would be 100% rinseless. There you go. And then Tony Mazel says, busted. Sometimes I ask the questions I feel people need to hear the answer to.
Nice.
Thank you, buddy. We appreciate it. Thank you for staying on top. Kimberly, I'm going to put your question up here, but I don't understand what you mean. Can someone help me with a fogging issue? Mornings are killing me. It hasn't been humid here, but I deal with it every morning. Did I do something wrong on the last wash? Traditional detailing question. I hopped in the Elantra inside of my front window today, had some fog when I hit the sun.
Did you?
And my reasons for that is I haven't driven the Elantra in like a week and a half.
Well, it needs to be heat cycled because of that the massive turbo on that Hyundai Elantra.
Well, I had to do some launches today. I had to do about 6 or 7 launches on it, hard launches.
The struts are still on there, right?
Yeah. But I just used a towel and wiped the inside of the window. I have a towel.
Yeah.
And a lot of that can be off-gassing from plastics. Can be if you have a buildup of air fresheners hanging from your mirror.
Absolutely.
Those can off-gas as well.
Yep.
And hot and cold cycles.
Yeah, hot and cold cycles, where you get
stuff.
the interior of the car hot and the window cools down. So in a quick cooling situation, all the vapor in the car is going to condense on what's cool.
Yeah.
And so, it condenses on the inside of the windows. You get fogging, you'll find that, generally speaking, you put it back in the sun, fogging goes away.
A lot of people say if you use bead maker on the inside of the windscreen, it will reduce fogging as well.
There you go. You might try that.
Yep.
Peter Judge, afternoon, guys. At what dilution of Polestar is its cleaning power equal to that of Express? That's an odd question, Peter.
That's a very odd question. I don't know. I haven't sat there with a beaker and been like, there it is.
Take this Polestar.
This is the exact thing. I really have no idea.
Express.
You're gonna have to, Peter. You're gonna have to express yourself and try it yourself.
Yeah.
Also, which product would you say is better for door seals, PSS or Topstar? Either one.
Depends on the door seals.
I think either one would be fine.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Topstar for everyday use. PSS maybe for ones that you've never touched in 10 or 15 years.
And next question here. Nick, and is Nick choosing the questions?
Nick's been choosing some questions, but I'm doing some of these too. He's been posting them up. Who will be handling this for Canada? Wayne Dean. Well, through Rag Company, it'll be TOC Supplies and some of our other Canadian distributors. Who do you guys have in Canada? Carzilla.
TOC is also distributed for us too. Yeah.
So, and then, sorry, Nick, I heard you right when I put that next one up there. I would think that needing a drying aid would give Absolute a real advantage over not needing a drying aid would give Absolute a real advantage over other rinseless washes. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Go ahead, put that one up there, Mark. I want to know if there are any detailers that use rinseless wash only, and how would you if you have to iron X a car or if the wheels are really muddy? Mark, there's a lot of detailers that only run rinseless. There's a lot of them. And the way they get around it is by utilizing pressure sprayers, like what we have, or filling their, Anthony, you've done it many times, and I know there's other detailers that do this. They get a 5-gallon bucket of water, they fill it with a rinseless solution, and then they go buy an airless paint sprayer, hook it up, and they use the airless paint sprayer as a pressure washer.
Well, I mean,
for situations where they need to get into some of those spots, or just like we did, we got Valhalla mode going on that IK.
We got Valhalla mode going on that, but like Ivan, for example, even Ivan, Mr.
Rinseless
himself, right? He has a Ryobi,
one of the Ryobi power shots,
or hydro shot, or whatever the heck it is, and he fills up a
battery
bucket of rinseless solution, runs the hose into that thing, and then just blasts things off.
Yeah, and just pressure washes.
I mean, you could do everything 100% rinseless if you really wanted to.
It's just
How do
learning
they
the
incorporate
plan.
the IronX type product though?
So same thing. You're just gonna rinse it.
Pre-treat, yeah.
You pre-treat it with Iron-X,
And then hit it with.
and
the
then you'll
rinseless.
rinse it after you've let it on, and you're just rinsing it with Rinseless. And you can do that, or you could use water. I used to have a small car wash company that would go around through my detail shop. That would go around to the dealerships, and it would wash the dealership cars. Back in the day, they would just run. You'd see the guys. They just had a pressure washer with a holding tank full of water. That was it. In the back of the truck with a pressure washer, a couple dudes with chamois, and they just go rinse the dust off of the dealership cars, and then they'd chamois them off. Well, my guys, $2 a car. My guys, we were charging, I think, $3 or $4 a car, but we would buy. I had a 250-gallon tank in the back of the truck. We'd fill that thing with water, and then we'd literally just take a gallon of, at the time, ONR, and we just pour it in that tank. And now it's just pulling Rinseless. And then my guys would go out there, they'd spray off the cars with Rinseless, and they'd just dry them off. And that was it. And that we did it was a better wash job. Cars were looking brighter and all that kind of stuff. You could do the exact same thing with this. So you could even get a tank of distilled water, deionized water from some of your local car wash companies that sell that stuff. Fill your water up, throw a gallon of this in, and go out there and wash still. And use it in that same way. It's all about figuring, you just got to do a little detective work, figure it out. David Blowy sent in a $10 super chat. How is the dirt separation compared to ONR? The product looks pretty thick compared to ONR, and the product video, is it thicker? Not necessarily thicker, David.
Yeah, not when you dilute it down.
Especially not when you dilute it down. The product itself, yes,
Thicker
in the bottle is
yeah.
thicker, but mixing it with water, you're really not going to notice. And in a viscosity test, you're not going to see that much more of a difference. But you are going to have that same, what I always joke, that Zwitter Ionic, where it's going to pull all that stuff to the bottom. It's going to encapsulate the dirt and pull it to the bottom.
It's not going to emulsify the dirt.
Right.
What it does is so an emulsion is going to be this really tiny particle size that doesn't have, it has enough charge difference that it kind of holds itself up in solution. So what's going to happen is they're basically going to be too big for that, and there's not going to be a big charge thing to hold it there. So it just settles to the bottom.
Yeah. Yep. And you called that
Oh, so an amphoteric.
Amphoteric. Yes. That's the difference. Amphoteric.
Yeah. Well, an amphoteric surfactant is a detergent that has a positive charge on one side and a negative charge on the other side. So when you change the pH, you basically change the charge potential on the surfactant. So you can go from a cationic to anionic. Anyway, and depending on how you set the pH.
There you go.
So it's
interesting.
More than you want to know.
It is more than I want to know.
And we got 5 minutes left in the
We go down
giveaway.
those rabbit holes a lot.
Yeah. Jeff saying, will absolutely change the water beading or self-cleaning behavior of coatings, such as Diamond Body 36. No.
No, that's the whole point of coatings, right?
Yeah.
They don't succumb to chemicals.
Yeah, and I've been using this on my coated cars and on other coated cars that I've coated in various different coatings and haven't had any issues or change in water behavior.
I know. Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing that you would notice is that if we were to take this out and there was a rainstorm out there, I mean, the car would still be coated. It would still perform beautifully as it would. And if we were also to take a pressure washer, it would still do all the things that a coating should do as well.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I mean, but when you're using a pressure sprayer and expecting crazy water behavior off of a pump sprayer, that's not where the water behavior is going to shine in that aspect on a rinseless wash. So the next question here we have from Levi, or
from me,
from putting up here on the screen, is
David saying,
"Gosh, I gotta change my name on here. I forgot about that." David Blowy.
And then Umberto saying, the rag company, thanks, Dan. I was trying to order a bucketless kit. Hope you get well soon and have more coconut drinks. Very nice of you. I don't know if Nick's got any more questions. We got a few minutes left here, so put your questions in, guys. I know we're at the top here of what we've got. Oh, here we go. There's one Dane had. Hey guys, go ahead and answer Flack's question from earlier about gloss enhancers. Does Absolute contain any?
I can't say that it doesn't contain any gloss enhancers. I mean, you can see that the gloss is looking pretty good when you're done. It's not its main function.
Okay. There you go.
Okay.
JWL saying, I'm new to Rinseless. Can I use something like an Eagle towel instead of the sponge to apply the solution on a pre-rinsed surface? Also, will this be available in the UK anytime soon? Thanks. Yes and yes. If you noticed while Anthony was talking, we were washing, I grabbed an Eagle 600, threw it in the bucket, and I was using that to clean the wheels. So, works just fine. No issues that way. You can use it with a bunch of towels.
I mean, it depends on the size of your vehicle. I mean, sometimes you know, you can just reach farther with a wet, you know, good soft wet towel. I mean, I just find that a convenience. But you know, I have a smaller car, so I don't need it. But if you're doing a taller car, you got to reach farther. It's kind of nice to have that
little extra reach, so to speak. And then when will this be available in the UK anytime soon? Pretty soon. There's an air shipment headed there right now, left today. So should be there within anytime next week, possibly. Be ready, available at cleanandshiny.co.uk. And then could you use dry bead maker, or could you dry bead maker onto a wet panel washed with this product? Could you dry maybe using bead maker is what he's saying. So if the product
mist it over
dries,
the top,
let's say Absolute dries on the panel, could you just mist it with bead maker and it would wipe up clean?
Anthony's probably going to know better than me on that.
Could you dry a bead maker onto a wet panel washed with this product?
So let's say it dried.
You can use it as a dry
bead maker.
You could use it as a dry aid, but I would probably, though, if let's say Absolute
this
dried
question is throwing me off.
It's written wrong.
It's a weird way to put it.
Wrong.
Do you mean can you use bead maker as a drying aid?
At the same time, yes, you can.
Yes, 100%.
But once Absolute dries, the best method is go back with Absolute.
Right.
Well, no, you could also just go over it with bead maker in it, and also like the Absolute anything. If there was some spot or a spot of Absolute that maybe were to dry, even if you can see, if you can see it, right? Oftentimes I can't even see if there was a dried spot there. You could just re-wet that surface again. Whether I usually use my damp drying towel that I already was using to dry the car.
He says yes as a drying aid.
But no, you can use it as bead maker as a drying aid all day long. I mean, that's where you're going to get you're going to get more slickness out of it and more gloss out of it. That's when you're going to have those protective
Absolute
qualities.
Too.
Did someone ask the pH of Absolute?
No.
No one's asked. It's fairly neutral, so about 7.5.
There you go.
7.5. Okay.
The range is gonna run neutral.
Okay.
Also, same dilutions as those are, so just quick detail on clay lube. Yes, David. And Anthony, I believe you've got a couple minutes left till the winner.
I do.
You've got the winner technically.
I have the winner.
You do. So it's closed then technically.
It is closed. Okay. So I think that we can go ahead.
The winner, you're good to go.
I think we can go ahead and announce it. So I have the name of the winner. I don't know what the winner purchased, but I'm assuming the winner maybe they got a kit or maybe they got Absolute. But regardless,
you got a bucket kit.
But regardless, you got a bucket kit?
Yep.
Okay, so the bucket kit will get comped, and the winner is Matt Merwin.
Matt Merwin, all right.
Hey,
Congratulations.
Yeah. Good deal.
Excellent.
Matt Merwin, I don't know if you're watching this right now, but you just got a free bucket kit. But you know what? For what it's worth, guys, that bucket kit is a screaming good deal on the website. Hey, did you see what it comes
really
with?
good.
You get a freaking bucket. You get the IK Multi Pro 2.
Yep.
You get some towels in there.
Spray.
Yeah, you get the UBS, right? And you get 32 ounces of Absolute for
a couple towels.
For like a killer deal,
What's
dude.
the value of that?
It's like that value is like $100 something, but I think that it's $69, something like that.
Really great price.
It's
really
insane.
great price. So Matt, congratulations. We're glad you did it and got there. So thank you. And Dane, of course, handing out some little hand claps there. So this stuff, I'm really thankful you guys were willing to listen to when we had our discussions, willing to let Anthony, smell the product. As best way
That's what I did. That's my contribution. I got to smell the product.
We'll just say there was like 6 bottles that they had that Dave had been working on.
Yeah.
Different scents.
Because
that's another thing most people don't realize. Scents can change a product.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah,
Chemistry-wise, completely. And so Dave had been working on trying to find the best scents.
Remember the one that turned yellow?
Yes. Yeah, there's one
We
that turned
put a
yellow.
fragrance in the bottle and it turned yellow.
People have to understand the scent process, though. So many bottles were sent up here.
Yeah.
I go,
A lot of
Dave,
bottles.
Dave, you're going to take 6 bottles. You're going to fly up to the rag company, and you're going to make Anthony choose.
Yeah.
That
He
was
had
it.
no
'cause we
problem. He had no problem
We're going to start
choosing.
selling this product.
Yeah.
You got to do it. Yeah.
We probably went through 30 fragrances.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Easy.
There was a lot, and we and thank God. I mean, what I loved is I love that Sydney was on the same page as me pretty much the entire
Yep.
time, right? Because Sydney was also like, this is also important to me, right?
Yeah.
So like we're smelling everything, and everybody kind of came to the same conclusion there because there were some pretty wild scents. I mean, which like I smelled and I go, wow, that's crazy. It's crazy good, not for this product,
yeah.
but like it's good in maybe another sense, and so or another sense. Yeah, we finally concluded with what this is going to smell like, and I think the label kind of it adds to that vibe. And the biggest thing is that when this product, I think the very first scent that was ever for this product that was sent to us back in like December or it was January or whatever it was, and we put this into a warm bucket of water and we did our first warm, steamy rinseless here in a cold studio. It made me look Miss Summer. It made me like, you know what I'm saying? Like during summer, it's got the vibes. During winter, it still gives me the vibes, and I'm still like, wow, I wish this was. It makes me feel like I'm doing something in the summertime, and I think the scent is very important. So I think people are really gonna like it.
Yeah,
So.
I think it'll be a good time. And I will say this. I have a lot of issues. I know you have a lot of issues with rinseless products. This is the only rinseless product next to Onr that we do not have any issues with.
Yeah.
Everything that we've asked this product to do, it does. And I think that's really the absolute truth, so to say, right?
Absolute truth,
I mean, that's what it is. So,
And there's been some pretty picky stuff over the last.
You should have seen the
several
testing
years.
procedures. They were really fun.
Yeah.
Anthony was out here. So here's what I'd want it to do, and it's doing that. And then I want it to do this. It's doing that too.
Yeah.
You know, it was so much fun to go through those.
yeah.
Dave's pretty kind in front of you guys because you would say comments to me, Anthony. I'd bring them back to Dave, and Dave would go, "Really?"
There were other times where we'd tell Bob, all right, so here's what we got. And he's like, I'm not even going to get in the middle of it. You guys just call Dave.
Call Dave. I can't.
Call Dave. I'm not going to do it.
I can't deliver
Yeah.
that.
I
So,
know.
there we go. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in, hanging out. Demo, yes, this product is pirate approved.
100%.
Very excited. Dane is feeling pretty good and is saying that he is going to be traveling this week, hopefully.
Yeah.
So with us. And so Dane, thank you for staying home and getting better.
So that
And
means
I
that next
appreciate
week I'll be running the Q&A Thursday by myself, possibly with a couple guests that we might be able to pull in from the TRC team if John allows. Otherwise, it's me flying solo for 2 hours where maybe we'll just talk about...
No, I talked to Next Day Nate. He said
he
he's
down?
down.
Is he down?
And I'm sure Josh Brodel will be able to be your co-host
Well,
as
hey,
well.
as long as our
So you and the
website
boys.
as long as our website doesn't go into maintenance mode again,
Yeah.
right? Next Thursday from 2 to 4 p.m., we should absolutely be able to have
It'll
them.
be great.
And we'll
I'm
be able to have
excited
some
for you
fun.
guys.
But Bob, Dave, thank you guys so much for
thank you
coming
guys
out.
for
Thank
hanging out with
you.
us.
Yeah.
Thank you
Always
so
welcome.
much.
Always welcome to come out whenever you want to hang out with us, whenever you want to do some product experimentation, bring me more sense or whatever that may be.
Great job on the
Yeah.
commercial,
But
guys.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
We had fun with
Really
that.
That was pretty
Share
cool.
it with your friends, tell your friends and family, and you know what's going to happen is when Dave starts giving Absolute out to his friends, he says, here's this bottle, watch the commercial first.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah,
Watch the-
exactly.
Now you get the bottle. And it's been
That has
a
been a
great
problem. Is like if you don't understand Rinseless Washes, I can't send you to the video yet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
there you go.
And they're going to say, so
Exactly.
I drink this.
Yeah.
No, don't drink it. Don't drink it.
Yeah. Well, awesome, guys.
So
Thank
awesome,
you.
guys.
Appreciate
Thank you
it.
so much. Thank you so much to the PNS team for being able to come out and do this with us. Thanks to Sid to helping out with the wash as well. And we're looking forward to seeing how everybody's reactions are to the product. We hope you guys love it
Yeah.
as much as we do. So
Try
check
it.
out,
You'll like it.
Check out PNS. You can check them out on social media. They're going to be launching this. Check out Absolute from other distributors around the country as well. If you can't
Around the
order
world.
from us around the world. And I think that's going to wrap it up for today's show. So as always, if you guys like this live stream, please make sure to give us a big thumbs up. Subscribe down below so you don't miss future Q&A Thursdays. And stay tuned for more videos right here at the Rag Company.
See ya.
See ya.